Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sethatina Newman Live. I am your host, Sethatina, and no, we're not live, but you can still see me on TikTok, YouTube, X, and Instagram. Those were the accounts that you can find my information. So thank you for joining me. I have a couple topics to discuss today, and hopefully you will see them in individual clips so that you won't be questioning, well, wait a minute, why did she say that? So hopefully each clip will be long enough that you can listen and see and understand what I am discussing today. Thank you. So today, one of the things that I want to talk about is from a clip that I saw from the Capitol about habeas corpus. So the Congresswoman was talking about habeas corpus is what provides citizens of the United States from not being able to be, that there has to be a public reason for why they are being held. Not exactly true. I looked up the meaning of habeas corpus, and the meaning is it is a legal action in which a prisoner can challenge the authority of the jail or prison to continue being held, and they have to provide a reason why that person is being held. So it is a protection against illegal imprisonment, and it's afforded to U.S. citizens as outlined in the suppression clause of the Constitution. I looked it up specifically in the Constitution. It's under Article 1, Section 9. It says the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. Okay, so in terms of aliens being illegal immigrants, non-documented immigrants being sent out without due process, that should only happen if it's a safety to citizens, according to the Constitution. But that has to be proven. Okay. So just picking people up and putting them on airplanes and sending them to other countries is not within the rights of anybody here in the United States. Yes, it says American citizens, United States citizens, but some of the people that have been picked up have been American citizens. So President Trump and the Secretary of Homeland Security are literally breaking the Constitution. Unless they have proof and present that proof that those individuals are leading a rebellion, they have invaded, it's a true military invasion, or they present a public safety issue, then they have the right to due process. They cannot be contained. They cannot be imprisoned. They cannot be held in a camp without being heard. And that's the second part of why I looked up habeas corpus. Because Senator Jasmine Crockett, I think she's a senator, either senator or representative. Either way, she's in Congress. She read recently to Congress a ruling that came down from, as she described, Trump's Supreme Court about immigration and the due process. And she said that AARP and all versus Donald J. Trump put out on May 16th of this year, on page 3, paragraph 2, stated regarding, and she said this is regarding the Texas situation. It said the Fifth Amendment entitles aliens to due process of law in the context of removal proceedings. Procedural due process rules are meant to protect against the mistaken or unjustified deprivation of life, liberty, and property. We have long held that no person shall be removed from the United States without opportunity at some time to be heard. Now, this is directly from the ruling by the Supreme Court with regards to individuals being taken by ICE, put in camps, put in detention centers, and then carted off to other countries. The Supreme Court, which is one of the three bodies of our government, the judiciary is a body of government, has ruled that you cannot do this, even as the President of the United States. According to the Constitution, this can only be done, like I said, if it is an invasion of war, if it is a rebellion from an alien, from some outside citizen, or if it is the safety to the American people. Okay. Criminals, sure, they can, I agree, they should be sent out. That's safety against the public. But for anybody else, unless they can prove that that individual has committed a crime, is going to commit a crime, and they have proof of that, they have no right to be held in a detention center. ICE has no business taking them off the street. The Supreme Court has ruled that we have long held that no person shall be removed from the United States without opportunity at some time to be heard. Okay. I know that I have seen videos of people being arrested by ICE and them saying, I have my papers, let me show you. I have my passport, let me show you. I am a citizen of the United States, let me show you. And they just totally and completely ignore it. And then get carted off to detention centers and are not heard. Do they think that the sometimes heard will be heard at some time when they're in another country? That doesn't work because the other country doesn't have the same rules as we do. So what's being done goes against our Constitution. Number 2. Last week, I talked a little bit about the budget. Some people told me that, I wasn't worth listening to because I didn't know what I was talking about. I prefaced, I could not read it. I prefaced, I did not understand it. I did not have last year's to compare to this year's. I totally admitted that I did not understand it. I tried to, and I have continued to try to understand the budget and the tax laws and the tax bill and how they coincide with one another. I did finally find at least dollar amounts for this year's budget, which they have the dollar amounts, but don't have how it's being allocated out to different agencies and different organizations and where the numbers are going to go to. They just have numbers. So again, not understanding it completely, but I am trying. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on trying. The one thing I did find was that based on this, just for this year, not 2026, 2027, 2020, all the way up to 2034, veterans benefits are $67 billion less than what they were last year. And yet we have more veterans needing services because we still have soldiers being hurt overseas. You can't tell me that we're not in a war because we have people in Ukraine, we have people in Israel helping out, and they're being injured. So no, we're still part of that. But we have $67 billion less for our veterans this year, just this year, than we did last year. And yet they're going to take care of our veterans. Not seeing how they're going to be able to do that to the full extent that our veterans deserve. Not need, deserve. It goes above need. So, and speaking of budget, real quick, side note, if we have a budget from 2025 until 2034, way beyond when President Trump finishes, why do we have to have a budget hearing every year? If this is going to be the budget for the next 9 years, why do we need a budget hearing every year? And why does Congress have to approve the budget every year? If they approve this one, it's approved for the next 9. Hope we make that much in the next 9 years for each year that they have everything budgeted out. Just a little side note there. But anyway, the reason I brought that up is because I have continually heard videos directly from Washington, D.C., where it was recorded and then put on TikTok or put on Instagram or put on X, where representatives and senators are the Republican congressmen trying to get this bill passed when it is going to ultimately hurt the American people, especially the working American people. Congressman Maxwell Frost from Florida, yes, he's a Democrat. I really don't care. Spoke for 3 minutes to Congress about how Senate and representatives are ready to give tax cuts to billionaires and special interest groups. Again, I think this is constant that billionaires and special interest groups get tax cuts, tax breaks all the time. He pointed out specifically gun manufacturers. Hey, I own a gun. I know how to shoot a gun. I'm for gun rights. However, I'm not for what he mentioned. He mentioned that silencers are purchasing a silencer is not going to be regulated anymore, and that there's actually tax cuts for the selling of silencers. Okay, as he pointed out, if a gun has a silencer on it and it is fired, you can't hear where that gunshot is coming from. If it is a criminal killing somebody, robbing a convenience store, robbing a bank, if that gun is fired, you can't hear where the gunfire is coming from. Therefore, you can't get aid to that person that was just shot. So tax exempt or having a tax credits cut on silencers is a little bit insane to me. He put forth an amendment to strip this tax cut. The House Republicans would not even let it come to the floor for a vote. Then they turned around and made the bill worse by making silencers completely unregulated. So anybody who has a gun that is silencer fits on can purchase it. Doesn't matter who they are, what their background is. They could have gotten the gun before all the requirements for background checks went into effect, and now they're miffed at the government. So now they can just buy a silencer and go kill whoever they want. I'm not saying everybody who owns a gun is crazy, but in today's society, there's a lot of people who are crazy. Some of you may take that negatively, but it's society. And nowadays, because of everything that's been going on, it's hard to keep up with the laws and the rules because, our government likes rules, but they don't make them so that the average person can understand them. The average person can read them because they put too many things in it. This tax cut is in the tax bill. Okay. This is supposed to be for the American people. It's supposed to go along with the budget. What does silencers have to do with these countries' federal budget? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You want to put a tax cut to help out the gun lobbyists, then it needs to be a separate bill. It does not need to be put in with the budget bill, with the tax requirements for the American people. That's just hiding more stuff. And that's something else that Congressman Maxwell Frost brought up. These meetings are at 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. Why aren't they during regular daytime hours when the American people can actually go listen? What are they trying to hide? A lot. Because no bill has just one topic. No bill has just one topic. And I mentioned before, that's completely ridiculous. And it goes against so many other areas and businesses and business laws and educational laws that require one goal, one objective, with benchmarks leading to those. Why do bills get to have so much information that the average person cannot read them or understand them? Because they're trying to get away with stuff that's not legal. My personal opinion. That's been backed up numerous times throughout history. So, and he questioned, why was this even added to the bill? Like I said, it shouldn't have been part of the bill. It has nothing to do with taxes, budgets, and it shouldn't be in there. Number 4. Let's talk about President Trump's gift from Qatar. Now, should he have accepted it? I can't say yes or no. I haven't read that part of the Constitution, although what I did read about the president part said nothing in there about accepting or not accepting gifts. I haven't gotten through all the amendments yet. Still working on them. However, when it comes to the plane that has been accepted by the Pentagon for the use of President Trump, Mr. Hegseth has stated that it will cost more than $1 billion to fix the gift from Qatar so it is fit to be used as Air Force One. Now, understand, number 1, there is nothing physically wrong with Air Force 1 and 2 that are currently flying. Yes, they are 35 years old, but there's nothing wrong with them. I looked up to make sure, okay, if there's some questions about their functionality, whether, they're too old, they can't get the parts, this, that, or the other. Okay, I can totally understand. So then I looked up, why are we not making our own jet for the presidency? We are, but not 747s anymore. They're now making the 777X. And because of numerous things, the COVID, because of COVID then affecting the production line, the transportation of those products, some of the businesses going out of business that makes the product that are needed for Boeing to make the 777X, is taking longer. They were supposed to be out by 2025, but because of delays and backups and businesses going out of business and everything I mentioned, it's taking longer. So they're not due to be delivered until 2028, maybe 2027. Okay. Yes, the planes are old, like I said. They're 35 years old. But that's not why President Trump wants the new plane. He stated he simply doesn't feel that our plane is impressive enough for it to be the representation of the President of the United States of America. He said, you look at the planes at Qatar and the EU, and they're impressive planes. They're much bigger than our plane, and they're impressive. And our strength of a country, it is the character and the willingness of the leaders of the country that will demonstrate the strength and resilience of that country, not objects. Go over in a two-seater. It doesn't matter how big your airplane is. What can you achieve on that airplane? Well, during 9/11 or during 9/11, the president ran the country from that plane. That shows the strength of the country. That shows the strength of the leadership, not the size of the plane. Now, President Trump began his desire for a new plane back when he was president in 2017. He did this on the suit tails of President Obama, who requested for new planes because they were aging. They were starting to get older, and he wanted to make sure that the planes were functional to get him to where he needed to be. Planes are only meant to function for a couple years, a couple decades, so 20 years. So 35 is kind of pushing it. But these planes are currently fine. And number two, there are plans for, like I said, there are plans for planes to be built. And these planes are $5.6 billion. So my question is, do we really need to spend an additional $1 billion just so President Trump has a flying palace, as it's described? Not it. Now, if I was president, the answer would definitely be no. Absolutely not.